Hello and welcome to our Offsite Construction series for the month of August. We are very excited for our next guest. My name is Audrey Grabesic. My company is Modular SureSite. We are a company that does consulting for residential and commercial projects with offsite construction. As you may be aware, our discussion is about opening up the opportunity for people to understand about different types of construction, one in particular being volumetric or modular construction. Today we have an amazing guest. Along with our guests, we also have our host, Scott Hickens. Hi, Scott. How are you today?
I'm great, Audrey, and thanks for having me on for another episode of the Offsite Construction series. Super happy to be here and talk with our guests today. If you have any questions for Ken, we'll be doing a little Q&A at the end of this presentation, so feel free to put questions in the chat, as well as who you are, where you're from. Feel free to drop your LinkedIn or any information. We want you all to connect in the chat as well, and please put those questions in there, and we'll be asking a few at the end.
Thank you for having me.
Ken, give us a little bit of your background. I'd love to know more about where you started. I know you've been one of the big players in the industry for the last 30 years, so give us a little bit of your background and how you got here today.
Well, I look that old, but I'm not quite that old. It's closer to 25. But no, I started out actually in residential rehab and remodeling, and in about 2000, I had decided to start building new homes, and the background that my team, my staff had really was fit for modular construction, because it really is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of floor repair or finishing, a little bit of roof, a little bit of foundation. And so we converted to offsite modular construction in the early 2000s. We rode that boom and bust out, and at that point, it really got me I had the opportunity to look at creating a new way to sell. And when you talk about how we've grown, it became Express Modular, then Impresa Modular. So it's I've had the ride. We became a licensed, registered, certified contractor in 42 states. I have salespeople across the country. We started franchising. We started don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but we've got a factory on the horizon. So it's been a good ride for me with modular.
Yeah, you've definitely expanded all areas of the business. Not to mention, I always say to Ken, he's probably one of the most brilliant marketers. If you haven't been on Impresa Modular's website, go. Every single question, every single thing that you'd like to know about modular construction or offsite construction, he's got articles, he's got blogs, and then he's got great people on board for his team as well. So being that you have now met Ken, we are going to start with our first question for Ken. How has the conversation in modular changed over the years for you?
Well, I would think the way I look at it, I've been going to the International Builder Show for quite a number of years, and as an industry, I would go out there and see very few modular people out there. The offsite industry really was, I would say, viewed as the redheaded stepchild of the construction industry. And I would say probably about in 2020, I really saw for the first time that modular construction and offsite construction in general had taken off. I usually speak at the International Builder Show each year, do multiple sessions on modular. As you know, I'm a big supporter of the industry, not just our company. And I would say that every presentation I did was standing room only, and I'm not that good of a speaker. It was the interest in modular and offsite construction. I think finally the perfect storm has hit, and this was pre-COVID. This happened right prior to COVID hitting the U.S., but I think we were already hitting the magic storm of price increases and just the extreme lack of construction labor, and everybody started looking at they had to come up with a better way to do it. Offsite construction was that way. Modular construction is one of the bigger pieces. Makes a bigger mark when you see a big module moving down the road, and so they were hungry for it. And it just seemed that nobody's had the ability to really give them the information. So they attended the sessions and wanted to learn more. And since that time, COVID really hit. It made the lack of construction labor even that much more intense. Supply chain problems, the broken supply chain has increased prices. to the extreme. And so we really have just added to the perfect storm of why off-site modular construction is a great option. And that's been a huge change where, 20 years ago, I just, we had to sell modular. Anymore, we're not really selling modular. Modular sold itself.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting because I feel like consumers, companies, businesses are actually doing their own research to finding out about offsite construction or modular construction. And as Ken, you and I both know, modular just means that these boxes, which basically are created in a factory that are fully finished, then come to the site and are actually assembled on site. So I just wanted to point that out because sometimes people are not really understanding that it's a form of construction. And so it's really interesting in the conversation. Don't you feel like that comes up a lot for you in the conversation?
Well, yeah, it's explaining and understanding. I think where you were leading is people have a misconception about it. Modular isn't a type of home; it's a method of construction. And we didn't do ourselves any favors with the M word, with mobile modular manufactured. And so people are confused about what we really do. And just very simply, it's built to local building code. It's built to the state building code. We just take a house plan, divide it up into modules, build those modules in a factory in a controlled environment, put it on a carrier, deliver it to the site. And in Lego-like fashion, we assemble it on the site and complete it. But it arrives on site, pick that number, 65, 75, 85% complete at the factory. So the factory's done the heavy lifting, and on site, you're stitching the modules together, doing these site connections, and you have a finished home very quickly.
So Ken, as you were saying a little bit earlier, it hasn't been historically the easiest for builders and developers and others to get the best information on modular. Clearly, you've been doing a great job of spreading that information through your content. Also, that is the mission of Offsite Dirt, is to really get that information out there. But to really bring builders, developers, and others into the modular space, you really have to create a system that works. And it seems like you really created a system that works on Impresa Modular. And so with Impresa Modular, why did you decide to create a franchising system for builders and developers?
Well, I mean, you kind of hit the nail right on the head there. There hasn't been a way for new to modular builders learn to build with modular. What's lost on most people, a factory is a manufacturer, they're not a builder. And I may be taking this to the extreme, but if you call a factory up and ask, where do I place the sill plate on the foundation, the inside or the outside of the wall, I probably wouldn't hesitate to guess that probably half of those people you call would ask, what's a sill plate? It really is that they sell the factory modules. They're not builders. And so builders in the field, really, because we are a hyper fragmented industry, they don't have a buddy builder down the road that they can call, because that buddy builder down the road probably is their competitor, not looking to help them to the full extent possible. And so we just saw a way that we were a large company working with about 25 factories already across the country. We were working in every geographic location essentially, and believe me, it is very different across the geographies of the United States, the way that construction actually takes place and the way factories construct. So we had that unique experience. Again, we were already licensed there. And so we had systems in place. The only way to be a nationwide modular company is to have very good systems in place, not just processes and systems, but computer systems, software, and have that all integrated together. And we can do things at the larger company size that a small 5 house a year, 10 house a year builder, they just couldn't afford to do, quite frankly. So we have our systems, our software, the website that Audrey referred to earlier in the what was this broadcast, and so we now offer that to franchisees. And so we created Impresa Modular Franchising, right before COVID struck. So we had about a year to hone it in. So we've got a couple franchises now, and we did that with primarily for custom builders. We do have a separate area of our business called Impresa Modular Pro that we really focus on developers, because business is done very differently for developers versus custom home builders.
Thank you, Ken. I agree with you. I love that you are always the trailblazer in the industry, as I like to say. I haven't met anyone that has worked harder than you in so many different aspects. And when we got to meet each other 2 years ago at the International Builder show, you were kind of launching this. And so it's really excited to see your growth. And throughout the process of the last year, as you have mentioned, and what I'm seeing as well, since COVID, more people are accepting of trying to build a house differently or looking at other operations of what they can do to have an offsite constructed home, because there are just so much building going on. So with that, when you were designing your program, can you tell us a little bit more about your franchise process and maybe how someone may get involved in it?
Sure. Sure. The franchise process really, again, we say it was focused towards custom home builders. And so obviously we have a website for that. So you can go to Impresa Modular Franchising and learn the details about the franchise. But what we really wanted to do was create an ability to, for anybody, whether you're new to construction, whether you're just an entrepreneur, whether you're a realtor, whether you're an existing home builder, we wanted to give you a mechanism to join a franchise. And once you join us, you actually get access to our ImpresaModular.com website. So as we talked earlier, that is the #1 modular construction website in the country. More people are on it in a day than are on most builders websites in several years. That you get your own section of that website. So if you become a franchise builder in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you actually own all the leads from that area of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Once you become the franchise builder, you get that lead. Not only do you get the marketing processes, you get the sales processes. We show you how to manage the sales processes. We actually give you connections with the factories. One of the things that factory capacity is getting tough today. I mean, we have become very popular very fast. And one of the things that I will say our franchise builders get is the luxury of coming in under our name. And what I mean by that is, because we're working with a factory that has agreed to be a franchise factory for us, the process of coming on board with that factory isn't you filling out an application with that factory. It is doing a registration, because you're automatically approved as being a franchise builder with Impresa Modular. So we actually walk you through how to do ordering with that factory. We teach you how to design with modular construction using that factory's capability. We actually bring you to multiple house sets during the process. Before you get your own house set, then we walk with you, and we are actually at least your first 3 house sets, so you understand the process. We have set crews that we provide you, so we're helping you with subcontractors. I mean, what it boils down to, Audrey, is we're a builder in a box. If you're going to be doing modular construction, we want to make you successful, because your success is our success.
So Ken, at the beginning, you talked a little bit about the way that the perception of modular has evolved over the years, from some of the maybe negative stereotypes of the past to now realizing that the benefits of building inside a factory, of knowing exactly how long it's going to take and how something will be built, people are really starting to realize the benefits of that, and those old stereotypes are starting to fall away. So to build off of that a little bit more, you told us about that change in perception. How did that relate to your business, and how have you seen your business grow over the past 30 years?
Well, I mean, it's exactly right. We started out as a modular builder, and before the last Great Recession, and so we lived in an area in the Mid-Atlantic where we have, I'd say, in the Mid-Atlantic of the U.S. and the Northeast, there's actually a really high acceptance of modular compared to the rest of the United States. So I think what we really ended up doing back in those days is we would get a customer interested in the process, and we live close enough to a factory, and our sales area is close enough to a factory, that we would welcome a customer to come do a site or do a factory visit. And even though I tell people they get lost in the process, us as builders like to beat our chest and talk about we do 2x6 construction, we have all the straps, we can put it on a carrier and lift it up and put it on a foundation with 2 crane straps. What today's homeowner really cares about is the heated seats and the leather wrapped steering wheel. In essence, they want to see the features and capabilities that are in our house and how it benefits them. not necessarily how we build it. But back then they wanted to see everything, and we could really take them to the factory. They could see that, mom could see that no dust was getting into the vents for the heating and cooling system. So that's, her children were going to be able to breathe better. It became a healthier environment. They could see how everything was built tight, so it was going to be a super energy efficient home. The heating and cooling bills, the electric bills were going to be much lower than their existing home. And so that seemed to be the focus then. What's really happened now is we sell on the beauty and design of our product. It's come a long way since that. As Audrey said even earlier, the customers are doing the research and they're coming to us. And my salespeople tell us every day, they pick up the phone and the customer's selling our sales guy on how great our homes are. That really the customer's done their research. It's kind of funny how it's changed in the last several years.
It makes me so happy to hear that, Ken, because when I started my business several years ago, you were like the first person that I reached out to, and it's so pleasant to have a conversation about this method of construction. It makes me, just elated to have you here. Ken, last month in July, we actually did an event with 4 factory owners. One was from South Carolina, one was from North Dakota, here in Colorado, where we're from, and then also in Missouri. There is word out there that you are getting ready to build your own modular factory in the Southeast. How is that going? Can you give us the latest update?
Well, the latest update is just moving along very rapidly. We can't make official announcements yet. The final state has to do that for us. But I would say that in the next 4 weeks, you will safely be getting an announcement of a factory that we will be starting to produce for. We were fortunate enough to have an opportunity to build quite a number of houses in a community in the Southeast, which afforded us the opportunity to get a factory started. So you're not going to get an exact location, Audrey, but you're just going to hear that it's going very well.
I'm glad to hear that. Will you be creating your own designs? Are you going to come up with different products that you want to be in? Are you going to do multifamily, or you're going to stay in the single family arena?
So I would say here's a few things we're going to do a little differently in the factory, and I would say things that make us very unique is, one, we are working on delivering the foundation with the house, and I'll leave that one in the air for you, so it'll be a teaser. We are going to be doing 20 wide modules from the factory in the Southeast, and through our design process, we're going to be eliminating the telltale marriage wall in the designs. So when you walk in, there won't be any visible marriage walls in the design. And we are doing primarily catering the single family home developers, the build to rent to developer. And what we're trying to do is create a housing as a service. And what I mean by that is, if a developer comes on board with us and is purchasing, we will not only help them, work with them through the design process, we will work with them through the construction process, the delivery process. We'll set it and we'll finish it from the sill plate up for that developer. They do the horizontals and we do the verticals.
That is phenomenal. That is such a great way to be able to make the process more efficient, especially when you're talking about the foundations with the home itself. That right there is going to save a tremendous amount of time. Go ahead, Scott. I think you had a question or a comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, that comment about the marriage walls, it's like the homeowners, don't need to have any indication that it's modular. And as Ken said before, there used to be this thing where we had to sell modular, like Ken was saying. They had to almost say, this is a modular home, but it's still going to be as good. And I think, what I'm hearing from Ken is the homes coming out of this factory, there's going to be absolutely no factor that we have to sell modular. These are just going to be great homes. And the way it's going to be built, doesn't really matter to the homeowner other than the fact that it's going to, they know that it's going to be the best way possible on the market.
Right. We're going to build the best home for them. We're going to sell it on our benefits, not on our features.
I love it, Ken. Thank you so much for being here, Ken.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Audrey and Scott.
Thank you,
It's
Ken.
always a pleasure. Love the discussion. Love that you're starting something again, which is a factory, which is, again, just, putting it all out there, which is amazing. This has been your Offsite Construction Series event for the month of August. Thank you for all being here. We look forward to having you at our next event, which is always the last Tuesday of the month, although this month it's going to be the 24th of August, so we're excited about that. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you again at our next event. You can find us at offsitedirt.com. I'm Audrey with Modular SureSite. Thank you for being here. Scott, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Audrey, and thank you for joining us for this section of our Offsite Construction Series, everybody.
Be sure to check us out on Offsite Dirt. I'm Audrey Grabesic. Thank you for being here on the Offsite Construction Series. Please check out the latest on the dirt in offsite construction.